In the colorful village of Jafori, women were known for one thing: big, round buttocks. Every girl in Jafori seemed to grow up with curves that made men turn their heads and aunties nod with pride. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor. As long as you had the gift, as they called it, you were respected. Songs were even made about it. Drums beat louder when the women danced, their backsides shaking like calabashes in rhythm. Visitors came from other villages just to watch the Jafori women walk, but there was one girl who was different. Her name was Mumi. Mumi was 22, tall and slim, with smooth dark skin and a bright smile. But her backside was small, so small it looked like it was running away from her body. Her childhood nickname was Flat Mumi. It hurt her deeply, but she never showed it. She smiled, helped in the market, and followed her friends around, though deep inside, her heart cried every day. At weddings, she stood at the back while others were called to the dance floor. At festivals, she wore longer wrappers to hide her shape. In the village square, when women lined up to grind corn or fetch water, whispers followed her like shadows. Is she even from Jafori? Maybe her mother drank bitter leaf during pregnancy. She's a stick in a land of drums. Her mother, Mama Dineo, tried to comfort her. "My child, beauty is more than body," she would say, holding her daughter close. But even Mama Dineo would sometimes glance at Mumi's back with quiet disappointment. One day, something inside Mumi broke. After another painful joke from her cousin at a naming ceremony, she ran into the bush behind their house and cried. Her tears soaked the earth. She pounded her fists into the soil. "Why me?" she shouted. "Why am I the only one?" As the wind blew gently through the trees, she heard a voice, soft, almost like a whisper. "If you want what they have, come find me." Mumi sat up suddenly, eyes wide. Who said that? Was it her imagination? The whisper came again. "Come, find me." She stood, wiping her face. The path to something new had just begun. Mumi stood still in the bush, her heart beating fast. The voice had been so clear, yet she saw no one around. The trees swayed gently, and the birds chirped above her head, but something in the air felt strange, heavy, like the bush was holding its breath. She took a small step forward. Come closer," the voice whispered again, this time from behind a large mango tree. Mumi slowly walked toward the tree, her legs shaking. When she reached it, she found an old narrow path hidden by thick grass. It looked like nobody had walked there in years. Still, something pulled her forward. After walking for what felt like forever, she entered a small clearing. There, sitting on a low stool beside a fire, was an old woman. Her skin was dark like charcoal, her hair long and silver. She wore a bright red wrapper and no shirt, but what caught Mumi's eyes was her backside. It was the biggest she had ever seen. The old woman turned and smiled. Her teeth were sharp and too white for her age. "I've been waiting," the woman said, poking the fire with a stick. Mumi tried to speak, but her throat felt dry. Did you call me?" The woman nodded. "Yes, you cried with your soul, and I heard you." Mumi looked around nervously. "Who are you?" "They call me Mama Kalaba," she said. "I help women become what they desire." Mumi's heart jumped. "You mean you can help me grow back there?" Mama Kalaba laughed. "You want a big backside like the others, so people will stop laughing?" Mumi nodded. "Yes, I want it. I don't want to be the only one anymore." Mama Kalaba stared into the fire, then stood up. She went inside a small clay hut and came out holding a small clay pot covered with red cloth. "This is the booty butter," she said, handing it to Mumi. "Rub it on your backside for 7 nights, but never miss a day. And when the 7th night ends, come back here." Mumi took the pot carefully. "Will it work?" Mama Kalaba smiled slowly. "Oh, it will work, my child. But remember, big things bring big attention. Are you ready for that?" Mumi swallowed hard. She had waited her whole life for this chance. "I'm ready," she said. As she turned to leave, the wind blew again, stronger this time. Something about Mama Kalaba's eyes felt too deep, too knowing. Mumi reached home just before sunset. She quickly hid the small clay pot under her bed. Her heart was beating fast. She felt like she had just stolen something, but no one saw her. Not her mother, not the nosy neighbor Auntie Jaja. The village was too busy preparing for the upcoming Yam Festival. Later that night, when everyone was asleep, Mumi locked the door to her small room and brought out the pot. She carefully removed the red cloth covering it. A sweet, strange smell filled the air. It was like honey mixed with smoke and something she couldn't name. Inside the pot was a thick, shiny cream. It glittered faintly in the lamplight, as if it had tiny stars inside. Mumi dipped her fingers in. The cream felt warm, too warm, like it had a heartbeat of its own. She stood in front of her mirror, turned around and rubbed it on her backside gently. As soon as the cream touched her skin, she felt a tingle. Then, a strong wave of heat rushed through her lower back. She gasped, "What is this?" The cream melted quickly into her skin, leaving it smooth and glowing. She finished rubbing it in and sat on her bed, sweating. Her heart wouldn't stop pounding. She touched her backside again, just to see. Had it grown? Maybe a little. Maybe it's just in my head, she whispered, laying down and covering herself. That night, her dreams were wild. She was dancing in the village square, and all the men were watching her. Her wrapper was tight, her backside round and bouncing. The women were jealous. The drummers played just for her. Even the chief's son asked for her hand. She woke up smiling. Then she sat up quickly and checked the mirror. She turned and looked at her backside. Her eyes widened. It had grown just a little, but it was real. Her flatness was no longer completely flat. There was a soft curve forming. She laughed in disbelief. "It's working." For the first time in her life, she felt hopeful. She danced alone in her room, humming the village songs. Then she picked up the pot and whispered, "Mama Kalaba, thank you." But outside her window, someone was watching. A pair of eyes blinked in the darkness. The wind blew softly. Something else had noticed the change. The next morning, Mumi woke up with a strange feeling. It wasn't fear, it was something else. Like someone had been close to her in the night, watching her. She opened the window and looked outside. Everything looked normal. Children were playing with old tires, women were sweeping their compounds, and smoke from morning fires rose into the sky. But Mumi couldn't shake off the feeling. She touched her backside again. It was definitely fuller than before. She smiled. "Day 2 tonight," she whispered. At the market that afternoon, she walked differently. Her steps were slower, her waist swayed just a little. It wasn't because she was proud, but because she finally had something to move. Some of the women noticed. "Anan, is it just me, or has Flat Mumi added small weight?" asked Auntie Jaja, adjusting her own wide hips. "I was thinking the same thing," replied her friend, chewing ground nuts. "Maybe she's been eating more yam." Mumi pretended not to hear them, but inside her chest, she was dancing. She rushed home, did her chores quickly, and waited for nightfall. That night, she rubbed the cream again. This time, the heat was stronger. She held the bed frame to stop herself from falling. It was like fire and honey moving under her skin, but she didn't stop. She wanted results. She wanted to be noticed, to belong. After rubbing, she locked her window and door tightly, then lay in bed. But not long after midnight, she heard a soft knock on the window. She sat up, heart racing. "Who's that?" she whispered. No answer. She tiptoed to the window and peeped through the curtain. Nobody. She waited a few more seconds. Nothing. She turned to go back to bed, then heard footsteps outside her door. She gasped and ran to the door. "Who is there?" Still no answer. But a deep voice whispered, "You are not the only one using the cream." Mumi froze. She pressed her back against the wall, eyes wide in fear. What did that mean? She thought. She waited for a while before slowly opening the door. No one was there, but on the ground, written in red sand, were the words, "Don't trust the gift." Mumi stared at the words written in red sand outside her door. "Don't trust the gift." She blinked, rubbed her eyes, and looked again. The message was still there. Her heart thumped. She quickly stepped back inside and locked the door. She didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Every little sound made her jump. An owl hooting, a goat crying, even the rustle of leaves. By morning, the message was gone, completely wiped away as if it had never been there. She told herself maybe it was just a dream, or a prank. Who would even know about the cream, she thought. Mama Kalaba told me not to tell anyone. She hadn't. She was sure of it. Trying to push the fear away, she got ready for the day. As she wore her wrapper, she noticed something new. Her backside was now rounder and firmer. Even her walk had changed naturally. She didn't have to force it anymore. When she stepped out of the house, heads turned. "Mumi, is that you?" one boy said. Another girl whispered, "She's looking like a full-grown woman now." For the first time, Mumi didn't look away. She met their eyes. She smiled. And for once, the smiles came back. Even the girls who once laughed at her didn't say a word this time. But one person wasn't smiling. Nene, the village beauty, known for having the biggest backside in Jofori, stared hard at Mumi. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She just watched. Later, as Mumi walked back home, Nene followed quietly behind her. When Mumi reached the bend near the palm trees, Nene finally spoke. "I know what you're using." Mumi turned, surprised. "What are you talking about?" "The cream. The one from Mama Kalaba," Nene said. Her voice was flat. Mumi's eyes widened. "How do you—" "I used it too, 3 years ago," Nene whispered. Mumi froze. "Then why—" Nene shook her head. "It comes with a price. A terrible one. The curves you see now are not blessings. They are chains." Mumi's hands trembled. "But it's working. I feel happy." Nene looked into her eyes. "For now. But soon, you'll see." And with that, Nene walked away, her own backside swaying like it carried a heavy secret. Mumi couldn't sleep. Nene's words haunted her all night. "They are chains." What did that mean? Was she just jealous? Was it a warning? Or something more? By now, Mumi was 4 nights into rubbing the cream. Each night, her backside grew bigger, rounder, and heavier. People no longer whispered when she passed by. They stared. Men greeted her more. Some women frowned. "Have you been eating more plantain, Mumi?" Mama Dineo asked, frowning. "You're filling out like a bag of yam." Mumi laughed nervously. "Maybe I'm just growing, Mama." But deep inside, she was scared. Her curves were getting too much. The last time she wore her favorite wrapper, it almost tore. The waistband struggled to tie. Her hips had started to ache, and walking was now slower, like dragging something heavy behind her. And then the dreams started changing. No longer happy dreams of dancing in the square. Now she saw strange figures, women with huge backsides crawling on all fours, crying. Some were tied with ropes. Others were whispering, "Too late, too late." She woke up sweating, her heart racing. The next morning, she decided to find Nene again. She needed answers. Mumi walked to the village edge, where Nene lived in a small house near the cassava farms. But when she got there, the door was open. The room was empty, clothes gone, no sign of her anywhere. She asked neighbors. One old man said, "Nene left last night. She carried a bag and went into the bush path, didn't tell anyone where she was going." Another woman added, "I saw her talking to herself. She looked like something was chasing her." Mumi's fear grew deeper. That night, she rubbed the cream for the 5th time, but something strange happened. This time, the cream didn't melt into her skin. It burned. She screamed and fell to the ground. The fire feeling lasted for several minutes before it stopped. When she looked in the mirror, her backside had grown twice as big as the day before. She couldn't believe it. "This is too much," she whispered. "This can't be normal." She picked up the clay pot. It was now half empty. The cream inside looked darker than before. She remembered Mama Kalaba's words, "Big things bring big attention. Are you ready?" Mumi wasn't sure anymore. Mumi could barely walk. Her backside had become so heavy, she had to lean against the wall to move around the room. Every step felt like she was carrying a basket of stones tied behind her. Her wrapper no longer fit. She wrapped herself in a bedsheet and stood in front of the mirror, breathing hard. "This is not beauty anymore," she whispered. "This is a curse." Tears rolled down her face. She looked at the clay pot again. The cream was now black and bubbling, like it was alive. She didn't dare touch it. The 6th night had arrived, and Mumi was afraid to rub the cream again. But she also feared what would happen if she didn't. Mama Kalaba had warned her, "Never miss a day." She stood by the mirror, holding the pot with shaking hands. Her eyes were tired. Her waist hurt. She didn't feel proud anymore. She felt trapped. Then she remembered Nina's words, "They are chains." She dropped the pot suddenly and screamed. The pot cracked slightly at the base but didn't break. Mumi grabbed her wrapper and rushed out of the house. She didn't care that it was almost midnight. She had to go back to Mama Kalaba. She needed to end this. The night was silent except for the wind blowing through the trees. As she passed the village square, she saw something that made her stop. A lady stood in the middle of the square. Her face was pale. Mumi whispered, "Hello?" It was Nina. Her eyes were red. Her lips were cracked. She opened her mouth and whispered, "I couldn't stop." Suddenly her body shook violently and she vanished, just like smoke. Mumi screamed and ran toward the bush path. Branches scratched her arms and thorns tore her wrapper, but she kept going. She followed the narrow trail back to where she had met Mama Kalaba. But when she reached the clearing, the hut was gone. No stool, no fire, no sign that anyone had ever lived there. Mumi fell to her knees, crying, "Please, help me!" Then she heard it again, the whisper. But this time it came from inside her head. "You asked for it. Now carry it." Mumi sat in the dark clearing, tears running down her face. Her legs were scratched, her wrapper torn, and her body sore, but none of that hurt as much as the fear inside her. Mama Kalaba was gone. The clay hut had disappeared like it had never existed. There were no footprints, no smoke, not even ashes. Just an empty space under the moonlight, and the whisper echoing in her mind. "You asked for it. Now carry it." Her hands trembled as she touched her back. It had grown again. Without rubbing the cream, it was now bigger than ever, heavy, stiff. Her waist felt like it would snap. She crawled back toward the main path. It took her almost an hour to get home. Every step was painful. Her legs dragged. Her breath came in short gasps. By the time she got to her door, the first cock had already crowed. She collapsed on her mat, too weak to change clothes. The pot of cream still sat where she left it, bubbling and black. She had wrapped herself in an old bedsheet and disappeared into the bush. She couldn't let the village see her like that. She had become a monster. As she walked through the forest, she saw strange things, twisted trees, bones hanging from branches, and whispers in the wind. She reached a small river and sat by the edge crying. Then, across the water, a figure appeared. It was another woman. Her face was hidden behind long braids, but she crawled slowly like a broken animal. Mumi watched in silence. The woman lifted her head, and Mumi saw the same eyes, sharp and white. It was Mama Kalaba. She was no longer fat and curvy, but she's young and slim. "You wanted to be like them," she said, "but now you are more than them. I gave you what you wanted. Then I took your slimness. That's all I wanted. Please," Mumi begged, "take it back. I don't want it anymore." Mama Kalaba smiled. "The cream was never magic, Mumi. It was a desire, and desire doesn't go backward." Mumi screamed, "I'm sorry!" But Mama Kalaba was already fading into the mist. Alone by the river, Mumi realized the truth. She was no longer herself. Mumi stayed near the river for 2 days. She ate nothing, drank only the cold stream water. Her body was weak, but her backside kept growing. Each time she stood up, she fell back down. It was too heavy now, like a sack of rocks strapped to her back. Her waist bent forward, her legs wobbled under the weight. She had to walk with her hands sometimes, dragging herself through the bushes. Flies buzzed around her. Her wrapper was dirty, torn and soaked with sweat. She saw her reflection in the river. She didn't recognize herself. Was this what she wanted? To be noticed? To be praised? Now she was feared, even by herself. That night, as the moon rose, Mumi heard voices in the forest again. But this time, they were clearer, soft, sad voices. She crawled closer to the sound and found them, a group of women hiding among the trees. Some were sitting, others are lying flat. Their backsides were all unnaturally large, some bigger than their entire bodies. Their faces were hollow, their eyes are dull. They looked at her with pain. One woman, her skin pale and thin, whispered, "You too?" Mumi nodded slowly, tears falling again. Another woman added, "We all asked for more. Now we carry too much." Mumi's voice broke. "Is there no way to stop it?" They shook their heads. Then one of them whispered, "There's a way, but you must give up the thing you love most." Mumi blinked. "What do you mean?" "She wants something in return, a fair exchange." "Who?" Mumi asked, but they all looked in the same direction, toward a deep cave hidden behind vines. One woman stood slowly. "If you're brave enough, go inside, but you must decide what to give." Mumi felt her legs shaking again, not from weight, but from fear. She thanked them and crawled toward the cave. As she reached the entrance, cold air hit her face. The cave was dark, silent. It felt like it was breathing. She thought of everything she had lost, her peace, her freedom, her body. Then she thought of what she loved most. She closed her eyes. "I'll give it," she whispered, "if it means I can be me again." Then she stepped into the cave, not knowing if she'd ever come out. The cave was cold and silent. Mumi stepped carefully, her hands touching the damp walls. Her massive backside dragged behind her, heavy like punishment. Each step felt longer than the last. The darkness seemed to swallow her whole. Then, suddenly, she saw it. A fire, burning in the middle of a round chamber. Behind it stood Mama Kalaba, her face calm, eyes glowing like burning coal. "You came," she said, not surprised. Mumi fell to her knees. "Please, take it back. I can't carry this anymore. I just wanted to feel loved, seen." Mama Kalaba nodded. "And now? I want to be free," Mumi whispered, "even if no one ever looks at me again." Mama Kalaba tilted her head. "Freedom is not free. Are you ready to give something up?" "Yes." Mama Kalaba raised her hand. Then speak it. The one thing you love most in this world. Mumi hesitated. Her mind rushed through memories, childhood laughter, her mother's face, her dreams, her music, her mirror, her voice. Then she whispered, "My beauty." Mama Kalaba's eyes widened. "You'd give that?" Mumi nodded. "I never had a big backside before, but I was still beautiful in my own way. I give it up, all of it. Take everything. Just let me go back." Silence filled the cave. Then, Mama Kalaba reached into the fire and pulled out a black stone. She pressed it gently onto Mumi's forehead. Pain rushed through Mumi like fire. She screamed, falling backward. Her body began to change. Her backside shrank, slowly at first, then faster. Her skin turned pale, her hair dull, her curves vanished. She passed out. When she woke up, she was lying outside the cave. The sun was rising. Birds were singing. She looked down at her body, thin, flat, ordinary. She smiled. She had never felt more beautiful. She returned to the village. Some laughed, some points, some whispered, "She lost it." But Mumi didn't care. She walked proudly. She worked harder, started a small fruit business, taught other girls to feel proud, no matter their shape. Years later, people didn't remember her for her body. They remembered her strength. Her name became a lesson, a story. If you were Mumi, would you have made the same choice to give up your beauty for freedom? Why do you think the desire to be accepted often pushes people into dangerous decisions? What do you believe true beauty really means, and who defines it? If you enjoy this story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more captivating stories. Love you all.